So I've spent the last however many years, 4+ years, trying to lead teams to be absolutely brilliant teams, and that's what I'm really passionate about. I came from a policy-making background, so I'm a kind of digital newbie-ish. I've only got about 4 years' experience. I'm not from an agency background, which a lot of service managers and CDOs and heads of digital are. But I came into digital in a civil service context because it appealed to my passion for public service and my passion for taxpayer value and trying to give excellent services to the public for the most efficient cost. For me, offering incredibly good customer service while sort of meeting departmental spend limits and all the joys of that, I think digital service delivery is the only way we can do that. So I think it's the only thing that balances those two things. And that's why I got into digital, and it's particularly why I've stayed in digital. My kind of philosophy of how I lead teams will not particularly surprise you. So we are passionate about user experience, and we are passionate about agile ways of working. We're passionate about self-improvement. We always build to share. We always build with empathy. So none of those things are remotely revolutionary in the world of digital and government at the moment. But we've got quite a ruthless focus on those things. And that's how I lead product owners, that's how I recruit them, and that's how I try and build and lead great teams. So that's me. So I love product owners. Product owners are the absolute heart and soul of any digital product, I do believe that. So I have been a service manager and so I'm a strategic lead for stuff. I don't do product ownership. I never have actually officially done product ownership, but I've stepped into some roles. But I have recruited product owners time and time again, and I've learned to know what good looks like for recruiting a product owner. And it could be, there's no single mold for what that looks like in terms of background or experience or personality or any of the other attributes that you might think. But I think there are some sort of qualities that can make you great, and that's what I'm going to talk about. So I do think that you shouldn't underestimate your importance in any digital team. You really are the kind of pinnacle of a triangle of product owner, service manager and delivery manager, without which I don't think any digital product can succeed. So, as I say, there are many, many good product owners. You can be an extremely efficient product owner by doing the things that we know that product owners do. You develop and run a backlog. You sometimes hire people into your team. You understand who you're building for, you understand what you're building, you understand what policy intent it meets, you understand what your operational people are thinking about it. You can understand all those things, but there are very few that are absolutely top-notch. All product owners generally have ideas, generally really, really good ideas as well. And every good product owner can explain what their product is and who they're building for, ideally. The great product owners that I've known, they don't just have ideas, they have a vision. And the difference between those two things is ideas are components. They are valuable and necessary for any digital service. A vision is all-encompassing. So people who are excellent product owners take something which is a really, really good idea and make it huge, make it massive, like as big as the welfare state type massive. There are other ones across government and outside, you know, Google started with a vision. All of these, you know, the big corporate companies and the big government departments are doing digital transformation properly all start with a huge vision. So those people know how radically can we influence policy, how radically can we influence legislation to make this better, how radically can we simplify the user experience, how much can we transform our operational centres. So these people will imagine a world with a radically different workforce, for example. They'll imagine a world where legislation is an enabler to digital transformation and can constantly be updated and iterated in line with the digital service. They'll envisage a world where people have fundamentally different, digital teams have got fundamentally different places to work. It's taking really, really great ideas and kind of going kaboom and making them into mushroom cloud ideas. And when you talk to these people, you feel inspired. That's what I always find. So if you talk to a good product owner, you think they are really solid, give them the job any day. Talk to a great product owner and you think, wow, they've just thought of a million things that I haven't even heard of. And that is invariably driven by passion. Empathy is, I think, at the heart and soul of every backlog. Just having, again, it's a little bit about vision. Just knowing your users back to front and caring deeply about the experience they have with you is something which then it shows up it like glows through your digital service. It'll be shown in your design, it'll be shown in your content, it'll be shown in the way you take feedback and how you respond to your users. And feeling what other people feel and knowing how they use your service and how they could use your service better drives you to be excellent in everything you do. Humility is nothing more or less than knowing that you don't know all the answers yet, you can't possibly know all the answers yet, and you can't possibly arrive at all the answers by yourselves. So I've seen good product owners who are extremely courageous, extremely bold in their vision, but not great at listening, and it doesn't do it for me. The best product owners that I know are extremely bold and brave in their vision, but also know that it might be wrong. Fundamentally, I might be wrong, and they embrace failure, and they don't just embrace it in a begrudging way. They kind of cuddle up to it and are absolutely determined to learn from it and know that it should never happen again. They also fail fast, which is a digital cliche in government now, but it's true. So they know that they don't have the right answer. They try something out. They make themselves vulnerable to trying new ideas. They try and make those ideas fail as quickly as they can if they're going to, and they learn and they bounce back. And they encourage these qualities in their teams as well. So they encourage boldness, they encourage radicalisation, but they also encourage that humility to know that you can always carry on learning. If your product owner has got this attitude, the whole team tends to have that attitude. And where you get these qualities in a team, those service teams are invariably fantastic, as long as they're not complete numpties. We're assuming you've hired the right people. Which brings me in a kind of blunt way to this one. So a good product owner can build a good product based on having excellent skills in their teams. You get fantastic developers and they think, yeah, we've absolutely nailed this. That developer is an absolute superstar. And I've worked with those developers and they are absolutely brilliant. But great product owners, excellent product owners understand that if your team is happy, if your team is motivated, the software basically writes itself. Software is never the problem in anything we do. It's not actually about the software. It's about the human beings. So great product owners know that if they can hire the right people, again with the right qualities, motivate them behind a vision, make them feel like what they do when they come to work is important, more often than not an amazing service will trickle out the other end. And the same attitude applies to users. So an excellent product owner understands that behind every single user story there's a human being, probably a bunch of human beings saying the same thing to you. But it also enables you to see the human stories behind every single thing you do. And it stops you thinking of things like, this is the green button on my page, this is this sentence, this is this bit of guidance. It stops you thinking of those good ideas and those good components and starts making you think, oh, Mrs. Blah is sitting in front of my service. She's probably crying. You know, her husband might have walked out on her. And it brings humility, and again, it makes you feel that the service you're building is real. So it gives you self-worth, and it means that the things you build are generally going to be better. Improvement. So personal self-improvement and professional self-improvement. So again, it's a little bit about embracing failure. If you see a product owner who you see at the absolute top of their game, they do celebrate success, of course they do. But they're always saying, what can I learn from this? They're always doing things like sharing crazy blogs with you and things that are kind of tangential to your daily work, because they understand that actually the sum total of the people in that room, if they can reach out and bring learning in, it's going to improve the service. Even if it doesn't improve it in a way that you can directly attribute, the quality of the learning that people bring and the attitude of constantly wanting to self-improve always improves your service. A good product owner can be, you can be very good by having tunnel vision about your product. You can be really good doing that. But you'd be excellent when you've got a balance of the tunnel vision and the passion about your own product and saying, I know we're not doing this best. There's always somebody doing this better than us. Who's better than us? Who's more efficient than us? Who's doing different things? Who's more imaginative than we are? Let's go and talk to them and let's bring that in. Again, it comes back to humility as well. This is one I'm really, really passionate about. I think good content is often just underplayed within a service. I think too often it's seen as words. So again, you can get a good product from just having pretty good plain English in a service. But so often I see people prioritising UX, visual design over content, and content almost being an add-on. People don't always emphasise the importance of having a great content designer in a team, for example. The words basically are your service. You can design the hell out of it. But in the end, great product owners know that the words within your service are the contact you have with your user. They're the primary way that your user understands what you're trying to say, and they are obsessive about nailing the content, and they iterate the content in their service exactly as much as they iterate the design and the features and everything else. So often, I think, I've been here as well, you know that you've got to get your service to live, and it feels like this massive endpoint, doesn't it? Or even into beta, going into public beta is a massive, massive deal, and everything in your life, professional life, is focused on getting to that point. And again, that's good. It's good to focus on getting your service to real people. It's extremely good. But really, excellence in product ownership means having a vision which goes way beyond that go live date. And the difference between good and great is the difference between the focus on go live and seeing go live through the right end of the telescope, i.e. go live is here and your vision goes sort of infinity, basically. And it means you're constantly looking to what's the next thing, what's the next improvement. And it goes through to the very, very literal bits of what good product ownership is about, which is things like knowing that your budget has to stretch for more than go live. So often investment graphs go off a cliff, even with iterative delivery, because people just haven't appreciated that go live is the beginning of your service. I liken it to pregnancy. If you imagine the building of your digital service as your pregnancy, giving birth is going live, and the minute you pick your baby up, you don't go, oh, that's nice, right, on to the next one. It's like, oh God, I've got to be a parent. I better try and prepare myself. And that's really what iterative digital service delivery is all about. It's about focusing on doing everything you can to make that service incredibly good by the time it goes live. But it's also about knowing that really you have to offer that service in perpetuity. And basically, as long as there is a single user of a service, you have to run that service. And it means a hell of a lot of things. It means you have to understand the demographic of who's going to be using your service. You have to understand the potential features. You have to understand how that could iterate, what it means for your operational people.